act of solving problems in a more effective and efficient way. And I said, if it's not efficient, it's not creativity. Don't go and just create something. Creativity is not aesthetics. I need to pin that. It's not aesthetics. It's not because something is fine, you see the person is. That's not necessarily a creative thing. There are some. Don't worry, we're going to do laws of aesthetics too. We'll do that too. We'll treat all these things, different topics. We're going to treat that. So it's not necessarily it's fine, it's creative. There are some simple things that are not that. They are not, because when you say something is beautiful, it's a mix of being complex and being. I think I've thought about. I'll teach it again. Being there should be like some extent of complexity to something being aesthetically pleasing, right? But creativity, someone might be very creative by using something simple to solve a problem, right? A simple design, it solves a problem. It's mind blowing, and you say that person is creative. So when we say creativity, it's not like I'll create beautiful works, right? So that's not it. That's not necessarily it, right? That's not necessarily it. So we have to unlearn. If that is what you term creativity, then you have to unlearn, right? You have to unlearn. So we moved forward to, are people born creative? And people had their opinion. Everybody has their opinion. And I told people on YouTube, comment, do you believe people are born with this creative thing? Are some people going to have that chance to really say I'm a creative person because they were not born with it? Are they ever going to have that chance to say I'm a creative person? Or they should just give up and leave this in? So I said my own quota that there are two schools of thought, right? If you go and research, I've researched about it a lot of times. I'm still researching for years, right? So there are two schools of thought. One believes that creativity, people are born creative. Anybody that's creative was born that way. There's some other person believes that creativity can be taught. You can learn it, right? So that's it. That's where we are at. So I said that both parties are correct in their bit. They are correct, right? Both parties are correct. So you can have people that are born creative, and we can also have people that learned to be creative, right? So we can also have that. Then why laws? So this, I think we're here, right? So why laws? So I use laws because laws help to show you patterns, right? To how people achieve their results. So there's no results that anybody has achieved that you can't necessarily achieve if you know how the person got there, right? If you show me the way you got there, if I follow that way, I would still get there. Except the person is not telling you, is missing out something, is not telling you something, right? If the person tells you how he or she achieved it, you are going to see that you yourself can achieve it. Right? That's why we have laws, right? There are laws guiding these things, right? So let's try to find out some laws that people put together, or some formulas that you can put together, and you arrive at you being somebody that pioneer creative ideas, right? So there are laws. Let's just agree at that point that there are laws that we can use to get this right. Let's just arrive there. Let's just agree at that point, right? Do you guys agree with me? So I'm talking to my pro sci class now. Do you guys agree with me? Are we on one page? 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 I guess we're on one page. Okay, so proceed. So I have the first law here. I have the first law. It's called the law of observation. Right, law of observation. Like I said, let me give that disclaimer again. There's a way I create my learning materials. The way I create it, I've said it several times. It's different, and it's for a purpose, right? It's for a purpose. That purpose is to make sure that what I'm teaching or what I'm trying to say is conveyed, right? Conveyed appropriately to the listener or the learner, right? So that's why I try to create it uniquely. So there's one law I call the law of observation. Law of observation. Law of observation. So when I started learning graphics design, you won't believe the software we started using. We started using we start with Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word, that's what we started with. So using the Microsoft Word, we were doing things like design. But there was something I did. I used to save flyers. That time I didn't have a phone. So years back, I was in secondary school, junior secondary school. So I didn't have a phone. So what I'll do is that I'll pick up designs one by one, pick them up, and I'll gather them, stack them. Anywhere I see flyers. In fact, if somebody's moving by, I want them to give me a flyer. So I'll stack it together. So what I started doing was that I started designing all of them. Started designing them. I'll do that on Microsoft Word and things like that. But I didn't know that this was helping to stir my creativity, right? It was helping to stir my creativity. Are you getting? I call it the law of observation. So you cannot create if you don't have something in your head. You have to pin that. You cannot create if you don't have anything. You cannot create on or with an empty head. You can't. You can't create with an empty head. That's one thing that has to sink in. You cannot create with an empty head. You can't. It doesn't play out like that. It doesn't play out like that at all. It doesn't play out. Can I hear you echo it in the comment that you cannot create with an empty head? So I usually give this quote. Right? That creativity feeds on knowledge. Right? Creativity feeds on knowledge. I could just try flipping that word so that it applies to others, right? So that it applies to others too. What's the knowledge we're talking about? So it needs your mental picture, or it needs a mental picture. So how do you get this mental picture? So you observe. You observe. What I'm talking about, right? So there's that law of observation. Right? You must see. I repeat it again. Creativity feeds on knowledge. It feeds on what? Knowledge. It feeds on knowledge. So it uses your mental picture, or you always will use your mental picture. So if you have not seen, you can't create. So I see a lot of persons trying to start something new. No. Even for me, let me say I'm doing a brand identity design, right? If I have brand identity designers in the house, just say, I want to give you a top secret. There's no secret, I've said it before, right? So if I want to create a brand identity, what I do is that if I have the brief and everything, I go for that too. I research, right? I want to see what has been there before. So that will lead us to that point. Nothing is really new. There is nothing really new, right? There's nothing really new. Nothing. So anything you see is a mix of either old things, any idea you see that seems to be catchy. Wow, this idea is nice. This stuff is nice. That seems to be very catchy. It is certain, or to be certain, that it's a mix of of two old ideas, right? It's either a mix of two old ideas, or it's it could actually be a remixing of an old idea. It could be a mixture of two old ideas, or a remixing of an old idea. So there is really nothing new. So if you want to be creative, you have to see, you must have seen the past. Consume things that have come before. Consume them. Consume them. Things that have come before. Consume a lot of them. A lot. Do your research and everything. Consume content. Any field you want to be creative at, consume past content, consume wide content, variety of content, consume from your space, from around you, consume from far country. You have to consume from everywhere. Consume from everywhere. Don't say, okay, I'm in Nigeria, I'll consume Nigerian content. No, it means you're not ready to be creative. Consume American content from the West, Eastern content. Consume. If you really want to be creative, consume from everybody, because it depends on how rich your meta picture is. How rich your mental picture is. Can I get a comment that creativity depends on your mental picture? Can I get a comment? If you are following on YouTube, let me get your comments. Creativity depends on your meta picture. Your meta picture, right? Mental picture. So you don't work without a meta picture. You don't work without a meta picture. You don't work without that. Right? You do not work without a meta picture. You do not work without a meta picture. So another thing I wrote here is flipping works. Flipping. So like I said, nothing is really new. So what most people do sometimes is flipping. So you could see social media. I'm like an idea freak. I have a lot of people I work with, right? I bring ideas, right? I have groups. I've been in groups before that I just bring ideas and things like that. I bring ideas, and we're enthusiasts about bringing ideas and things like that. And we want to also beat the next idea. But do you know that the next idea depends on the last idea? Am I the only one like getting these key points? You have to pin that the next idea depends on the last idea. So there is no next idea. The last idea, so I'll call it the little level, is that the meta picture I had when I started designing, the people I was learning from was the best. The first thing I'll do is I went to look for who is the best graphic designer on earth. Who is the best on earth? On earth, not in Nigeria. Who is the best on earth? And I began to observe their work, and that just helped to improve my meta picture, right? So I could not stop, because I already saw them, like these are top level people. I could not. That was where I started measuring myself up, right? I could not. The way they reacted, that was when I saw people like Chris Do and things like that. So this is the picture I have. I don't have any lesser picture in my head. So it depends on your meta picture. And when you're picking things, don't pick things that pick top notch. Pick the things that are top notch, right? You pick things that are top notch. Like when we say top notch, we mean top notch. So flip things, and that is flip things. Through observation, you can flip things, right? You could get something from the West, maybe an American content from an American designer, things like that, and you can actually flip it. But you can't flip if you don't observe. What are you flipping if you don't have a mental picture? So that's why you go to get mental picture, and from there flipping works. A lot of ideas that you have in Nigeria, I saw a lot of things that they flipped. They just flipped. Some people, especially when it comes to movie ideas and things like that, some people just watched a Korean movie and they flipped it. They used it as a Nigerian movie, and boom, it went far. Some people picked somebody's design, maybe on another niche entirely. Let me say on another niche. Some people picked a motion graphics work. They flipped it, and it became a graphic design, a still design, and it was amazing just by flipping. So remember what I said. There is no new idea. Can I get that on comment section? There is no new idea. There is no new idea. Can I get out the comment section? Then I know you are following. There is no new idea. Let me tell you, in these live sessions we'll be having, let's get to the law of aesthetics. That's when we solve maths. You know that there is maths in what we are doing. Right? When we get to the laws of aesthetics, we are going to go. These are, do I call them like interesting topics? We're going to treat a lot of interesting topics. So I congratulate my pro cyclers, like ahead. I congratulate you guys. You guys have made like one of the best decisions you have ever made, right? One of the best decisions, right? Because we're going to be discussing these things like, so flip. Don't forget, flip ideas. When you watch an Indian something, flip it, make it Nigerian. People will start praising you. Your fair. Wow, this idea is nice. Wow, beautiful. But you just flipped it, and it takes a very intelligent person to actually flip something, because for you to know that, okay, if I flip this thing, it's going to work, it means you are intelligent. You are an intelligent person. But that's a creative process also. So flipping works. The way I do this content now is that anybody can look at it and say, okay, I'm learning. Right. So I want to get everybody comment. Just let me know flipping works. I can only see one person commenting. Let me get other people commenting that flipping works. If not, people don't want me to go to the next law. You don't want to go to the next law. Flipping works, man. Flipping works. You guys are in for a ride, although we'll soon. But you guys are in for a ride, seriously. You guys are in for a ride, serious ride. I mean, this year, you guys are in for a ride. Somebody said creativity is key. Wow. Okay, I guess you're following also. Right. So that's something you have to put into considerations. Right. So when it's time, I'll get questions from people that are in the pro cycle. Right. Usman Graphics, I see you. Daniel Newborn, I see you. Joy Badeba, I see you. Dara, I see you. Town of Promise, I see you. Right. So when it's time for questions, I'll get questions from Zoom. My pro cyclers, don't worry, you guys are going to get the link and to ask me questions. So just be attentive, right? So flipping works. So I'm going to go to the next law. Don't worry, we're going to have time. We will discuss deeply on this. I can't really go deeply as I want to go on this, but I'll be breaking it down from time to time. That's why I want to stick to this channel, right? You want to stick to, and you want to become a pro cycle member. Yes, very important. So there's a law of inversion. Right, the law of inversion. So what does this law, or what is this law exactly? Law of inversion, right? So if you're gonna say law of inversion on Google, you will sweat. You will not see anything concerning it. This is the only place you can get this explanation. EkD is the only person that will explain this for you, right? EkD will be the only person to explain this for you. So don't go and search on Google and try looking at what is the law of inversion. You will not see it. You are not going to see it. You will search. You will not see it. You will only find it with EkD. And you have a pro cycler. Good for you. Okay. So we have law of inversion. So the law of inversion is, and I think that's why some people become creative. It's one of the environmental factors that make people become creative. And you can apply it. You can invert things for yourself, right? You can do it for yourself. But some people, it just happen to them like naturally, right? Do you know that people that find themselves in tight corners and maybe there are no options for them, they work on, as in they become creative. Have you noticed that? If you have, just say I've noticed it. Like some person that are in tight corners, it could be some economical situation and all this. They find themselves being creative. I mean, I've had it. It's kind of funny, but I've had some comedians saying that when I got to this job, there was no money, everything, there was poverty and everything, and I had to find a way, and they became creative. They didn't know that they were comedians. They had to creative is just being creative, just finding another path, not even another path. You're in like a roadblock, then you find another path. Right? You find another path, or you find the path. That's being creative. That's being creative. That's being creative. Do you notice that people that are in tight conditions, they find themselves being more creative? So that's why I call the law of inversion. You can or purposely put yourself in tight conditions so you can be creative. Me, I don't avoid tight conditions. I don't. I embrace it. Especially when it comes to my creative work, I embrace it. Today we're just looking at something. Like I said, I do other things, right? At something I did editing on. I did editing on something. This is very interesting, right? I did an video editing on something, and I was in a very tight condition. Very tight condition because the clips, everything got missing, right? And it's a very, very important clip, and they were going to shoot it again. It depended on, is it that I become creative, or they are going to shoot that stuff again. Oh God, there's another part to this that you don't want to miss. Something just came to my mind right now. There's another part to this that you don't want to miss. It. When we get to that part, we'll talk about. I've been incubating these things, right? We'll talk about. I had an interview of Fela. You know Fela, right? You know Fela. When we get there, my God, when we get there, you are going to hear some things. I had an interview of Fela, and it's kind of true. I'm just thinking of how that session is going to be. It's going to be blast, right? We'll talk on those things. It's very much practical. So being in that tight corner, I couldn't do anything. I had to be creative. If you want if you want us to have a part 2, let me see. If you want us to have a part 2, because if you want us to have a part 2, just tell me on the comment section. Let's have a part 2, because I'm really thinking like this thing cannot even contain what we want to do, because there are other things, practical things that you want to really hear. You want to hear them. So I was in that tight condition, and I had no option but to be creative. And things that I did, in fact, I didn't know that I could do them. But because I was in that tight condition, I had to do it. Because if I did not do that, and I tell the person, okay, I lost all the clips. Can you imagine shooting again? Can you imagine? And you don't want to even imagine. That talk is for another day. I'm not doing editing class here, but I would have told you if I had some editors here, I would have told them. But I'm not talking to editors, right? But if you person, I think one of my mentees will know about it, right? He knows about it. So you can't imagine. You can't imagine if you start breaking down this topic, we will not live here. You can't imagine. So in that tight condition, I was able to do that. So I don't run from tight conditions. And I was saying something. A very popular person did a tweet, right? And I said something. She did a tweet. She was saying that, okay, they want to make a movie, but the situation in Nigeria is kind of, the situation in Nigeria is something else, and it does not allow you to be creative, to express your creativity, and everything does not allow you to express your creativity. And she was saying it on a tweet, and somebody shared it and asked people to give their opinion, and everybody was saying, yes, Nigeria does not allow you to show your creativity. Nigeria does not allow you, disturbs your creativity. You can't even shoot what you want to shoot. They will disturb you. These tax collectors, agberos, as they call them. If you are not in Nigeria, agbero is somebody that they are this kind of tax force people, right? That goes to make people to pay tax and things like that. If you are a pro cyclist, just be active. I will soon send the Zoom link to you guys. Just be active. I'll send the Zoom link to you guys soon for questions. So, still on that story. So, people were commenting Nigeria is, but I saw it from another perspective, and I made a comment. I said, you can get something from this. You can get something from this. You can get something from this. You can. So, I made a comment there on that comment that Nigeria is this. I said she's right. Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, Nigeria is not good for people, creatives, it does not allow us to create. You're right. But what makes a true creative person? what makes a true creative person is your ability to be able to jump through those hurdles and create something that people will not be able to know if you had an issue or if you had any obstacle. That when people see that final work, they will not be able to believe, they will not be able to notice if you had an obstacle or not. That is how you know a true creative person or a really serious creative person. A very creative person, that's how you know them. So don't say Nigeria is an hindrance. It's actually something that should stir you up, that should test your creativity. It should actually test your creativity if you are a creative person. So there are no excuses. In fact, that excuse should be something you should be creative about. Nobody's creative when everything is going well. Like I said, creativity is finding a new and a better, new, effective, efficient way of solving a problem. So it's a problem, right? So you become creative when you have problem around you, right? So that's it. So if you can put yourself in such conditions often, don't see anything as something that, okay, I'm not going to do it because it's so hard and the conditions around it are so, I'm not going to do it. But try yourself. Try and what is not. And what is not. Right? So AI can barely do that for you. So in a time like this where we have AI, right? Where we have AI, it's very hard for people to think, just like, but you putting yourself in difficult situation, it helps you to be able to think and be able to have the opportunity to be creative, right? It helps you to have the opportunity to be creative. So whenever there's a difficulty, maybe you are working with the client and something is difficult and this seems difficult, that is an opportunity for you to test your creativity or for you to make creativity be a part of you, right? So that's it. You have to take note. You have to take note. I'm not getting likes. Are people not liking? Am I not making sense? Am I making sense? Somebody comment. Think. You have to think. Okay, you have to think. So give yourself some work, as in it has to be part of you. Invest your situation. Don't be too comfortable. Don't be too comfortable, guys. Don't be too comfortable. Don't be too comfortable. If you want to be a creative person, then don't be too comfortable. Let me get it on the comment section. Don't be too comfortable. Don't be too comfortable. Don't be too comfortable. Don't be too comfortable at all. Don't try it. Don't try it. So whenever you are comfortable at something, know that you're about getting to where your creativity will not be put to test again. So try moving yourself. Try new things. You'll be creative. Try new things, new ways. And this last one, if you want to see the last one, let me get your comment. Don't be too comfortable. Don't be too comfortable. Let me get that comment. Don't be too comfortable. Don't be too comfortable. And by the way, just a short break before we get the last point. I recently started something, right? I have a Pro Cycle. And the Pro Cycle, they are a group of people that I closely mentor. I closely mentor these guys, right? So they are in the Pro Cycle group. And these are people that will have the opportunity to, week in, week out, they have the opportunity to be mentored by me, right? And we have a target for the year. By the end of the year, before the end of the year, they should be able to hold something that this is what I have done, right? And also have the target of making the most exceptional student be an Adobe ambassador, right? Just as I am an Adobe ambassador, and we look forward to making somebody from and that's a huge opportunity, right? Just in a way, although we are not looking at that, right? We're not looking at that being the major aim. They want to grow, right? They want to grow. That's why they are in this. And I believe mentorship helps to shorten the gap. Some people say there's no shortcut, but I say there's a shortcut. That shortcut is mentorship. Mentorship is a shortcut. Some people say there's no shortcut in life. No, there's a shortcut in life. That shortcut is mentorship. If you are mentored by the right people, then it will save you that long journey you want to take. And that's what we're doing, the Pro Cycle. So if you want to join the Pro Cycle, you don't have to be just a designer, brand designer. So far you are a creative, you could join that Pro Cycle group. We do these things every time. Very soon, this live session we're having on YouTube is going to be concealed only for the Pro Cyclers. We're just doing this openly for people to get to see what we're doing, right? But very soon it's going to be cut off, right? So that's just it. So give yourself some work. Give yourself some work. give yourself some work. So the last law goes like this. The last but not the least goes like this. The law of play. That's something that as I get more advanced, let me say in age, do you know that you stop playing? Like you stop playing when you are playing to there's an age you get to that when you are still playing, like you're still doing all these kind of things, like you're playing, people will look at you. Is something okay with this person? This person is over. Is the age is not matching up the way this person is acting. The person is playing too much. But have you discovered that creative people, they are very playful in nature? If you have discovered that, let me get you saying I've discovered that or I've noticed that. Have you noticed that creative people, they are most of the times playful people? It's very difficult for you to somebody that is very serious, like when I say serious, you know what I mean, right? That is always boning his or her face and everything. When I say boning, if you are not in Nigeria, it means you are just squeezing your face, you are just having a straight face, right? You're having a straight face. It's very bad for those people to be creative. Have you noticed? Just check creative people, people that you tell that okay, this person is creative around you. They are playful, they are very playful. And that's how a child is. So you think like a child. And why are children? Children, they play, so they are able to try things. So I discovered as I advanced in age that I began to become more rigid. I became more rigid. Like I don't want to try new things. This is what works. Let's go with what works. But a child would always want to try new things. You're always okay. You don't want to. A creative person would always want to shift, right? Shift things around them. They also want to try new things, right? A creative person always wants to try new things, and that's children for you. They also want to try their new things, try a mix of things. You know why? Because they don't have. There's a knowledge, right, that makes you become rigid. There's a knowledge. For instance, you know that okay, we have secondary colors, we have primary colors, we have the color wheels, and the color wheel has told us how to mix colors, right? So what do you have laws in place? So let me say a child does not know about the color wheel. It does not have that knowledge about the color wheel. So a child is able to mix both colors that should not be mixed. Everything is able to mix two colors together. So by trying new things, the child can also notice, okay, these two things work, right? But for an adult, you might be finding, when I mean adult, it could be literally being an adult or being someone that has matured in a particular field, right? So you are afraid of trying new things because you are like, this is the law, this is how this thing works, right? These two colors cannot go. Not that you have tried it too, but you just learned that these two colors cannot go. And you don't even know the scenario that the person who brought about that law or whatever, you don't know the scenario that person was in. Maybe you are in a new scenario or based on the generation we are in, that you could try that and it could work. But you just assume that cannot work because I was told so. But a child does not even have that knowledge to even follow. The child just tries the things out, tries them. Those are the people that people will call creative people. Creative people. Are you following? Are you following? Following. I am 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 following. I'm following. Then we'll move on. Then we will move on. Then we will move on. So it's something crazy. Be like a child. Be like a child. Think like a child. Think like a child. Think like a child. If you've been following, just let me hear you say, I'm following. I am following. I am following. Right? So children take risks. Imagine what I said just now. Adults don't want to take risk. They don't want to take risks because you're like, this is how it happens. But children, and why children take risks is not that they are, sometimes it's not on purpose. It's because they don't just have the knowledge. So they are able to take risks. So as you begin to grow, you begin to have the knowledge that this can put me in trouble, or this. You become rigid, and you've watched other persons, it has put them in trouble before. You just have to adjust and become more rigid. Like, I can't do that. It's risk. But children are able to take risks. So you should be able to take risks. I've took risks. I don't mean risk to risk your life. Like, I've took some design risks before, because you can look at something and say, people don't do this. How do I present this to my client? People don't do this. Then you are afraid to take that risk to be the first person to do it. Or you want to do a content, you are saying, I'll be the first person to do that content. You are afraid to take that risk. What if it does not work? Right? And you miss out on being called a pioneer or somebody that is creative. The person that is bold enough to take that risk to just change that status quo, everybody now terms that person a creative person. There are if you must be a creative, you must be able to take risks. 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 Be the first to start. Be the first to start. Don't be afraid to be the first to start. Right? Don't be afraid. Play. 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 Somebody just comment play. 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 Play is just combining a number of things together. Right? When you are playing, you are combining things, not knowing how the output will be, not predefining the output, but trying to see, okay, what will be the output. Some things that you have in your mind, they are just like having the end result, but you just try it. Just try it out. Okay, you know this two can't work. You were told this two can't work, but you've not actually tried it. And even if you've tried it, have you tried it in that present situation you are currently in, right? Or present scenario you are in? Have you tried it? The law of play. You have to play to get to something that people would term great, or a great idea, right? You have to play. Most of the popular things you have that were being introduced into systems and everything, they were gotten out of maybe people just playing and things like that. People just playing, right? So that's it. One thing you have to get. That's one thing you have to get. That's one thing you have to get. So finally, we've come to the end. We've come to the end. You learned something, so we are going to get my people to speak. My people to ask questions. If you have a question on YouTube, you can also put your question. But I'm going to get my ProSci class to ask a question. Like I said, we can't finish all this. I have some other things to say. There are other sides of creativity that you've trust me, you've not heard about it. Trust me, you've not heard about it. Just trust me on that we are going to discuss. So the end. But I said, of course, we are not done. We will have a second part to this topic in question, So we're going to have a second part of the laws of creativity. There are other laws there. There is one, the one I talked about, that when I said Fela was right about it. I'm not a fan of his, but what he said, I'm going to relate it to many things, and other people too. Always be there to see. So ProSci class, join me on Zoom. Forwarded the link to you guys. Join me on Zoom. So by the way, if you're on YouTube and you've been following, give me one law. Which is your favorite law? Which is your favorite law? Give me your favorite law. If you're on YouTube, give me your favorite law. Give me your favorite law on YouTube. Your favorite law. Favorite law. Favorite law. Favorite law. Give me your favorite law. Favorite law. So, okay. So let's get questions. Come. If you have a question, just raise your hand. I'm talking to my ProSci class now. When I say ProSci class, I mean ProSci class. People in on my pro group, right? So let's get questions. And today I'll take. Okay, we'll have Joy. Okay, you can unmute and ask a question. For those people on YouTube, I will have to re-echo it to you. But you just give me your favorite law. If you're on YouTube, give me your favorite law. Before we wrap up with this, give me your favorite law. So from this question, you can also learn more. So don't leave because of the questions, right? So Joy, proceed. Ask your question. Good evening. Okay. 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 So for that, let's answer the first question. So one of the pro cyclers, Joy, she's asking, okay, she has a lot of projects and things like that, and most times she starts designing things, and she comes to a point where she's like, something is missing from this design, and she does not actually know what is missing necessarily. But this was an idea she started, and she gets to a point and she's like, no, this thing is not complete, and there's no, maybe I think there's no energy, or she just feels that, okay, I have to stop here because something is missing, I've not gotten it completely, and she doesn't finish up the idea. And some of that time she has some other ideas again, things like that. It happens. So what I would say with ideas is that when it comes to ideas, sometimes they are timing, right? They are timing to ideas. A lot of people know me very well. If I'm doing something, I don't like to break. Because if I break, I can lose. We'll talk about these things in the part 2, right? It's something like that. I can lose my connectivity or whatever, so I can lose it. So I don't like breaking if I'm doing a task. I don't like breaking, going somewhere or things like that. So that's for me, because there's timing, and there's also that timing that you are not to get, like, you can't get the complete everything right at that moment. You can't get it. So sometimes you have to wait, right? So we're answering a question one of our pro cycler is answering. She's asking about she having different ideas. If you're coming from YouTube, I'm just trying to explain it. She having different ideas and not being able to finish it, right? She just knows that something's wrong. So you are really right. Something is wrong, right? Something is wrong. Something is not complete. Because it's not complete, sometimes you have to wait again. I've had ideas that I have to wait to be able to complete them. I have to wait, right, to be able to come. Sometimes when I'm having conversations, that I complete those ideas, right? You must have heard musicians and people telling that sometimes they write song for 2 years, 3 years. Even film, the same thing. Even graphics, this is the same thing. It's creativity, right? So even Photoshop, or they have editions, right? They have editions. We have 2025, we are going to have 2026, because there are some things that they did not get right. They have to get it right from compliance and everything. They will not get it right. So sometimes if you see that it is not something that if you put out and they will not steal your idea, then move on. Later when it comes, you go back and edit it, you redo it, and move on. Later when it comes, you go back and edit it, you redo it. For me, there are some of my contents here on YouTube. I want to redo them because I didn't have the full picture. I will still redo them. This thing I'm talking about, creativity, I've had it before, but now I'm seeing it more perfectly. And tomorrow again, I'll still edit it. So there is no perfect something. So you should put that in mind. If you not have a great impact, then, and you know that somebody will not steal it, you have protected it, and to have a great impact, then you can withhold it. But if you not just post it for the sake of consistency, but as you continue to build yourself, it becomes part of you. Are you getting? It becomes part of. Sometimes you can share it with somebody, share it with people, like people that are confidential. If you see that if you have a big impact, share it with somebody. You could share it. Next time if you have those kind of ideas, put it in the Pro Cycle group. That's why we have a Pro Cycle group. Put it there. Then say, okay, I have this idea. I'm trying to grab this up. Somebody will say something, or I will say something that this. Share it with a trusted person. Share it with a trusted group that will not. If you know that the idea is very serious and you don't want people to get it right. So that's it. That's for that. So that's for that question. I believe I answered your question, right? I believe I answered it. So it's not abnormal for you to do that. Did I answer your question well? Joy, did I answer your question well? I believe I did, right? So let's move to the next person. Joshua. Unmute yourself and ask your question. So we have another pro cycler that wants to ask a question. So I believe you guys on YouTube, you learned from this question we just answered. So Joshua, unmute yourself, ask your question. Are you there? 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 We are out of time. We are out of time. We are out of time. Are you there? Can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Okay. So, is there another person with any other question? So that I don't know if Joshua can hear me, but if there's any other person with another question, can you ask? If not, we are going to go now. If not, we are going to go now. So I think everybody has gotten it, gotten an hold of what you said. We are going to be having a part 2. We're going to be having a part 2. A part 2 of the laws of creativity. We'll have a part 2, and it's going to be amazing, right? It's going to be amazing. So, Joshua, are you ready to answer your question now? Yeah. I can hear you now. Good evening. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to patenting your content or copywriting, they are of different ways, right? So for that of logos, I will speak on that on a particular day, though, based on that. But what I can tell you is that there are ways to do that, right? So in Nigeria, there are ways of trademarking your logo and things like that. If your logo is going to go international, there's another international body that helps to copyright or trademark your logo, right? But if you want to just do it just in Nigeria, a lawyer can help you do that, right? There's somewhere at Abuja where the copyright logo. So, but that is not to you. That's not for you to do. That's for your client to do, except it's your business, right? So your client is to do that. When you make the logo for them, they are to do that, to go and trademark it. It's not your assignment, right? But if you want to do it for yourself, personally for yourself, you can go and trademark. You can go and do the trademarking. If it's for your business, right, for your own personal brand or things like that, you could do it. Then another thing is that I think basically that's it. You can, if it's for a graphic work, there are other laws that surround it. How you copyright your content, there are other laws, right? That's why I say if you are not very knowledgeable, then if you feel that is very important, then you can keep it. Just keep it till you finally done everything, right? Then you can release it, right? But there are ways you can trademark. You could trademark. A lawyer can help you trademark. You trademark both slangs and text. And there's nothing that you can't trademark. There is absolutely nothing you can't trademark. You can trademark your content. What I've taught you today, I can choose to trademark it, right? This is my knowledge, right? This is the way I package it. This is the way I package the knowledge. It's for me, right? It's for me. So you can choose to, but that's the job of your client. It's not your job. It's not your brand. So I guess I answered you correctly. I guess I've answered you, right? I guess I've answered you well. So that's it for today. I guess you enjoyed this session. I'm going to go off live from YouTube now. So if you're going to be watching this after, don't forget to subscribe. Watching it after now, don't forget to subscribe. Why do I feel like somebody's like, EkD, you've gotten to 3K subscribers and you are not even making, you did not do a congratulatory post, you did not do anything, anything. Yeah, kind of. I didn't do anything because let me say we are still growing, right? We're still growing. Still a long way to go. But we silently acknowledge that we've gone a bit, right? But we still have a long way. When it gets to a particular amount of subscribers, we'll do that statement, right? But not yet. So for YouTube, I'm going off. So let me have a comment on the comment section. For the pro cyclers, just remain here for a minute. Going off from YouTube now, and that's it. YouTube gone. So back to you guys on Zoom.